Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you about a franchise of games under the title of Metal Gear Solid, with a little bit of emphasis on the up-and-coming Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. The reason why I wanted to make this video is not because I want to make an analysis of what's going on. No, not really. I don't really like structured, planned analysis videos. Not that they're bad, but I enjoy just talking about something as it occurs, or as I'm thinking about it, just casually talking to you about things that I think about certain aspects of the game. But instead, I'm just going to make this short video just telling you that this is something that does interest me. And the reason why I'm saying this is because just a few months, couple of weeks to a couple of months back at Gamescom, Hideo Kojima finally announced that Metal Gear Solid 5 will be going to Steam. So someone may wonder, well, what difference does that make? It was going to PS4 and Xbox One, so what difference does it make? The difference is, one thing you have to understand is that I'm not an old person. Far from it, actually. Still rather young, but just to see, it's always heartwarming to see a franchise that still exists even till now, that started round about the time I was born. It's really amazing to see Hideo Kojima and what he has done over the couple of years with his team at Konami, and how they've evolved Metal Gear from Metal Gear Solid 1 to Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 up until Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, with all the portable renditions of the game. They've really evolved the game in terms of mechanics, and they've further elaborated on the story that Hideo and his team had written so many decades ago. It's actually quite amazing that a story that started when I was a little baby, that I grew up with when I was 6 years old, is still with me now when I'm in my early 20s. It's quite a work of art indeed. And that's why I'm really hyped that Phantom Pain will be coming to PC, because like I had said, over the past maybe 5+ years, I'd only been exclusively playing my games on PC. The reason was because, not that I hated consoles or found them inconveniencing. Well, kind of, they are inconveniencing in a way that I found it difficult to travel with the extra luggage in terms of it being a console and all the discs and controllers. A PC for me is much more suitable, as all the software and games is digital. It doesn't bear any extra burden, and I have found that PC gaming is a bit cheaper when it comes to the purchasing of games, just a little bit, not too much. So the last Metal Gear I actually owned was Metal Gear Solid 3 on my PS2 a long time ago. I think it's still there in my mother's house even till today. And I have played the first two NES system Metal Gear Solids, and those were the ones that focused on Solid Snake combating Big Boss and Frank Jaeger. And I remember those were, at the time, the game was, I don't know, it was foreign to me. I didn't really know it much. Like I said, I was young, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And then when I grew up, my older brother of mine brought Metal Gear Solid from a friend. I was like, whoa, what's going on? This was on the PlayStation 1 that we had owned, and it was really amazing. The story was captivating and it grew on us, and we played the game and we found it challenging, and we played it and played it more and more. This Metal Gear Solid 1, it was really interesting. It was all about this at the time, since I was young, I was like, yo, it's all about this spy dude, Solid Snake, who's in, how can I say this, not invading, but stealthing his way into this military facility, trying to find out what's going on with this nuclear weapon, and with nuclear weapons and this Metal Gear, and who's this Liquid Snake guy. It was all this big conspiracy, and I was like, who's Big Boss? What was Outer Heaven? It was all just amazing stuff. And as I played the game, I actually found out it wasn't only about just Snake, Big Boss, and Liquid and Ocelot. There were so many other characters within the game that made it what it was. The art by Yoji Shinkawa was just phenomenal, even though the graphics are now considered old by now. It's like if you were to look at MGS1 on PlayStation 1 now, some people might not even understand why people could bear to stand looking at it, but at the time for me, that was the in thing. And so that happened. Then we gave back the game. We had borrowed it from a friend and kept on borrowing it from time to time to play it over and over again, but it wasn't ours. And then Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty came out. We were like, wow, we've now got a PlayStation 2, Kojima's done it again, a new game has come out. But it was different. It was like Snake was older, but then Snake was not the main focus. It seemed like they had now revealed Solidus, the third brother, to the fray. Now it was all about Solid Snake, Liquid, and Solidus Snake, and how Ocelot was there manipulating things. And then we got a closer hands-up look at the Patriots AI, at Arsenal gear. It was the story was now really evolving, but the story wasn't being portrayed through Solid Snake's eyes anymore. It was through Jack, it was through Raiden's eyes. So it was this whole new character with a whole new roster of NPCs and the newly formed Dead Cell with Vamp and Fortune and Fat Man, all these bad guys I grew to love. And we played the game over and over and over again, and Metal Gear Solid 2 Substance came out, which was like the extended edition. I had a cousin of mine at the time. We played that game so much, just for fun, that one time we were like, let's see how quick we could finish Metal Gear Solid 2. We were not going for any world records at the time. We didn't even know what speed running was. I think at the time I was 13 years old, and I think we finished the game, if I remember correctly, either in 3 hours 40 minutes, or was it 3 hours 50 something minutes, because at the end it would give you the timer and all the stats of your run and the ranking, and we got, I think it was the second best rank, but we had been spotted a couple of times. So we managed to finish Metal Gear Solid 2 on the extreme difficulty in 3 hours 50 minutes, and that was like after like years and years. We played that game for literally years, maybe 3 years straight, just playing it amongst other games, of course. It was really interesting, and we saw the accumulation of what Jack became. We found out that Ocelot was working with the Patriots, but then he ended up backstabbing them for a set information that he had wanted. Then he escaped, and then Solid Snake was chasing after him, and then Raiden was left to battle his own demons in the form of Solidus Snake, and that compromise ended. And then at the end we found out that actually the Patriots died so many years ago. You know what I mean? It was a real shocker. Otacon telling this to Snake. And then Metal Gear Solid 3 came out a couple of years later. We had Snake Eater. We're like, wow. We weren't really too... At the time I wasn't really happy at the boss battles in that game. I felt that boss's crew, the fear, the sorrow, the pain, those guys really I felt at the time that they didn't really compare well to Dead Cell. Dead Cell to me were like the ideal group of freaks, these bad guys that no one knew anything of. People just thought them to be dysfunctional soldiers. But then I didn't really like the pain and the sorrow and the fury in terms of their group, and the boss, the Joy, who led them. But as we played more and more, we first started not liking the NPCs and the story, but then we played it more and more and more, and it slowly grew on us. And that was one thing in Metal Gear Solid 3 that I didn't really understand that much, as to how I started hating the game so much, because I kept on comparing it to Metal Gear Solid 2, and at the time I thought that Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty had been the best Kojima had produced in terms of a Metal Gear Solid game. I honestly thought Metal Gear Solid 2 was the best, and for me Metal Gear Solid 3 kept on falling off, and it wasn't reaching that benchmark that Kojima had made me feel so many years ago. But then, anyway, that was that. We got some Metal Gear games on handhelds and stuff like that. I didn't play much of any of them, like Metal Gear Solid Acid, Portable Ops, Peace Walker. I played a little bit here and there, but nothing, I never really delved deep into it, so I can't really say much on that. Then Metal Gear Solid 4 came out. Kojima himself at the time did not even want to make a Metal Gear game anymore. He wanted to expand. He was saying his future, he had hoped that his future would not only be Metal Gear and games, he wanted to go into the film industry and other industries. And Yoji Shinkawa himself, who had done the art and been the art director for so many years in Konami for Metal Gear, and he was the creator of Zone Offenders. Even he had wanted to further his art into other industries as well, but then due to hate mail and fans and all the bad things, they were pressuring Kojima. They wanted another game, they wanted it on the PlayStation 3, so he made Metal Gear Solid 4. I personally feel that Metal Gear Solid 4 was the worst Metal Gear I ever played. Not that it was a terrible game, but even Kojima himself said it, that when he was making the game, he did not feel like he was in the zone. He did not feel like making the game. He only made it to satisfy the needs and urges of the fans that were angry that there is no new Metal Gear game anymore after Metal Gear Solid 3. So he forced himself to make it, and you can, as someone who appreciates art, should I say, there's a difference when someone creates something out of the love and passion they have for this new creation. And there's definitely a difference between that person and someone who's just mass producing something because it is in demand. He has no love at the moment to create it, so he's just forcing himself to make it. There were so many inconsistencies and things that really made me sad about Metal Gear Solid 4, and I honestly, when I look at the saga as it is, Metal Gear Solid 4 was really a low point in the Metal Gear saga and in Hideo Kojima's life, I would assume, in the sense that he himself had to force himself to do something that he didn't want to do at a time when he didn't want to do it. But in the end, he made the game, and it did not destroy his image, but even he acknowledged it himself that something better had to be done. Hence, we are now in the world of Metal Gear Solid 5. Console players have experienced ground zeros, and Kojima has changed things. He's now found that he's going to revitalize and reinvigorate the series. He's inviting new people to voice act different characters. For example, David Hayter won't be there, and for me that was actually a shock because I grew up on David Hayter. He was the voice of Solid Snake and Big Boss. Now it's Kiefer Sutherland, and it's like, it's this whole different thing. But what he said was that he would like to get someone who is not only experienced in conveying emotions in a vocal way, but also in a physical, visual way, as Kiefer Sutherland is an actor. So they used the whole new motion capturing software for facials and body and they took Kiefer Sutherland in the sense that he is an actor. He knows how to express himself also in a visual manner, as compared to David Hayter, who he quoted, not quoted, but he said is a very good voice actor, but not a very good actor. So things have changed. I'm looking forward to this game. Like I said, I'm not good at any practical planned analysis videos. If you want an analysis video of any Metal Gear Solid game, you have the power to search for it for yourself. I just made this video to just tell you that this is something that really interests me, and when the game comes out on PC, whenever it does, I will play the game and I will tell you what I think about it, and I will talk about the lore of the game from the beginning, first Metal Gear game ever made, till what it is now, because the story is intertwined. And it's interesting to see this take on Big Boss. This is Big Boss before Outer Heaven. This is Big Boss, in Kojima's words, this Big Boss turning into a demon. He's now becoming the bad guy that I knew when I was young. When I was young, I never knew that Big Boss was someone who was somewhat considered as a good guy, but then ended up turning bad. This is when Big Boss becomes the monster that he was in Outer Heaven. So I am really hoping to see how this turns out. But anyway, I think I've been rambling about for a long time. I'm sorry if I bored you. I'm sorry if I expected something else, but this is all I had to say. We'll check you out some other time.